Mikuda Weme family, we are Hosu Agelo Bagan, Agwabi the First, the paramount Hosu or king of Ganlodo, which is a Quilombo Maroon um, monarchy here in America. And this is part two of the teachings of Ajisi Hue, presented some of the teachings, some of the verses, and um, we're what is unique about this is we're doing commentary. So even if you have the book, you're getting a little we're breaking down some of these verses by the commentary. So we have a few more to go here, about 6 or 7. As we mentioned, when we say begin verse and end verse, begin, we're talking about the verse, end verse, the verse is over with, and then what we say after that is our commentary. Okay? All right, so this is verse number 14. One whose mind and body are imbued with the Creator's love gives up base nature and corruption. In verse. Though self-explanatory, this teaching is very important and cannot be repeated enough. This sacred teaching shows that those who are given to corruption do not have love for the Creator and do not have the love of the Creator in them. The corruption seen amongst Vodun, priests, and leadership speaks volumes of the great lack of love amongst them. Ones who are on the path, the Ali Tleleta, must be very careful as they navigate their way through in their attempts to learn authentic Vodun culture. Quote number 15, the filthy and self-absorbed die in their filth, and they depart in disgrace. By Hevioso's Vunukbe, which means divine grace, Hevioso comes to abide in the mind, and the filth of selfishness is dispelled. Like a lamp lit in darkness, the spiritual wisdom of the Wangan dispels ignorance. So we find that several deities are mentioned sometimes, separate from Maulisa, and it's usually for a reason. In the verse, the great thunder deity Hevioso is considered the penultimate divinity to invoke when eradicating corruption, whether it be of the self or society. Hevioso also teaches many lessons on the consequences of selfishness. We invoke Hevioso to rid us of such desires that only lead to backwardness. But first, Hevioso has to abide in your mind. You have to know within that Hevioso has the answers. Once he is in the mind, then the light of the Wangan, remember we said the Wangan is representative of the way of living, the light of the Wangan comes to dominate the consciousness. Quote number 16, there is no pain as great as the pain of Gangana Gansu, which is illusion, and Monyoe, which is ignorance. It drives people to wander all around the world until they become exhausted. End of verse. Often the answers to people's problems and the doors to success are right in front of them. If one chooses to live in ignorance and fall for the illusions, they often become like chickens with their heads cut off. They wander from this place to that place, this priest to that priest, this spiritual house to that one, from this religion to that one. They never find peace because of their state of being is a constant illusion. It is only when they become exhausted, and that's spiritually, mentally, financially, drained after, having looked everywhere but where they're supposed to, that they sometimes settle down and accept truth. Sadly, by this time, they are far behind, quote unquote, the pack. Verse number 17. No one has found a Vejida, it's a deity very similar to Oya in the Vodun tradition, she's a goddess, by stubborn-mindedness. All have grown weary of the effort. Thousands of clever mental tricks have been tried, but still the raw and undisciplined mind does not absorb a Vejida's love. By falsehood and deception, none have found a Vejida. In the verse. A Vejida is a goddess of the torrent. We have seen they named this storm Harvey, but either way, The elemental aspect of a veggie diet is tornadoes and hurricane, very similar to Oya. She despises deception and she teaches ultimate lessons in humility. It is she who breaks people, things, and situations down to their bare minimum so that they may build themselves up properly from scratch. Verse number 18, whatever you plant, you will eat. End of verse. End of verse. And what we put in comes out. Be careful what you spiritually and mentally ingest. Verse number 19. The essence of the Nunyuan Tombu, the triple overstanding, is the most sublime essence. How can I get to taste the essence? The Huangan, the primal being, is your friend who will drive out pain and subdue your ego. End of quote. So our commentary is, how do we get to the essence? We are taught here that we must drive out pain and ego. Both often are a product of continued illusion and ignorance of our true selves. Right? Continued illusion. We see illusion all through the Ajisi way. All through there. And ego. So the Huangan is metaphorically equated with the primal being in that for Vodun, its content is that of the laws of all creation. It is the highest spirituality, yet the simplest sublime aspects of our nature. To be friends with the Huangan, as is mentioned in the verse, is to have it imbued within your heart and soul, as your friend is in your heart and soul. True friends. Verse number 20. The elements and the components are all made by the one. They are held in their order by the one. When the mind accepts and it is satisfied with the one, and the word used there as actually Beidota as an aspect of the Creator, then the consciousness becomes steady and stable. End of verse. Peace comes from realizing how to integrate the variegated nature of creation as one. From peace comes balance, and from living the state of balance comes spiritual elevation. So, those are the verses that we wanted to share with you. We hope you got something for that. We want to add from that. We want to add on the interesting concept of dealing with our languages and the concept. And actually, what we'll do, we will come back to you in another video. We will talk about the concept of human versus person, and the Western concept of what they call a human. Odigba.